Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars, welcome to another classic film review on this bank holiday Monday. Today's classic film review is for the 1986 action science fiction B-movie, Eliminators. Now this film is directed by Peter Manoogian and it stars Andrew Prine, who you may recognise certainly from V the miniseries, Denise Crosby, who is from Star Trek The Next Generation, Patrick Reynolds, Conan Lee and Roy Dotrice. Now this is one of those films that I had in my VHS collection when I was a lad. It's one of those films I've got very fond memories of going to the video store and renting out on VHS, and you would see the poster up in the video store. It looked such a cool film, and I would have probably pestered my dad or my mum, so it'll probably be dad, to death to rent this film because it looked so great. And it was almost like, you know, it was being promoted on, you know, the big trend at the time in regards to the Terminator, you know, cyborgs, things like that were hugely popular, as were martial arts films and things like that. So this film really shouldn't have worked on many levels, and at the time it wouldn't have been really classed as a B-movie, but these days it certainly is. But compared to the B-movies of today, this one I think is, you know, streets ahead of them. It's just so charming, it's just so wonderful, it's just so entertaining, and essentially it focuses on Patrick Reynolds' character, Mandroid, who has a plane crash. He's pulled from the wreckage, pretty much dead, and he is essentially turned into a mandroid by Abbott Reeves, an evil professor who essentially is playing about with time travel. So he creates this mandroid. The mandroid manages to escape when he realizes he's going to be shut down and dismantled. Heads to Denise Crosby, who soon realizes that the mandroid is essentially her technology, and she insists on going back with him to confront Abbott Reeves about why he's stolen her technology and things like that. Along the way they meet the charming and roguish Harry Fontana, played by Andrew Prine, who is a river guide, very much modelled on Han Solo and the Michael Douglas character from Romancing the Stone, things like that. And along the way they also meet Conan Lee, who is a martial arts master who is trying to find out what happened to his father, who was a colleague of Abbott Reeves. So they all kind of team up along the way to confront Abbott Reeves and his evil plans for taking over the Roman Empire and becoming their new Caesar. It sounds really epic stuff, doesn't it? Well, you know, to some degree it really is. It's a really fun and entertaining 80s cheesy film. This it's done with a tongue in its cheek. It's got bags of charm. It's got Denise Crosby and Andrew Prine, especially Andrew Prine, like chewing up all the scenery that he's in with this roguish character that he's playing, Harry Fontana, who really does lift the mood of the film, if you like. Up to that point it's all fairly doom and gloom and, you know, murder, revenge and vowing vengeance type of movie, and he turns up and he really does lighten the film wonderfully, and he really helps make this film a really fun and entertaining one. Denise Crosby, who obviously went on to Star Trek The Next Generation fame, is really good, as well as Nora Hunter, you know, this genius who created like the mandroid basically, wanting to help him figure out his past and things like that. And surprisingly, I didn't realise this, Patrick Reynolds, who plays Mandroid in this film, this was his last feature film. He did very, very little after this film, which surprises me because I actually think he did a pretty good job here as the Mandroid. He wasn't just one-dimensional, you know, you did actually feel for this character. You know, he had a past, he had a family and things like that, and he actually, at times, you know, I mean, they don't explore this a great deal, but they do, you know, touch on the fact that, you know, he's no life basically after this sort of thing. And I thought he was actually really quite good in this, and he was like, you know, the real selling point for this film. You know, this huge like mandroid on the poster sleeve, things like that, and he does. He's essentially the main character here, the mandroid, and I think he carried the film really, really well. Helped, of course, by some, at the time, very, very impressive practical effects. The suit that he wears works really well, you believe it. He's got like half a face sort of thing, of half man, half machine type thing. And he's got this full body armour sort of thing. His arms and his legs are like full on robot, if you like. And there's just a bit of his torso that he kind of wears a body protector over. I thought it works really, really well. And the mobile unit that he uses, like this tank machine that he uses to travel around on as well, was really, really cool. And again, it shows how fantastic practical effects can be, and it really helped sell the movie. The laser effects are all pretty good. There's a Spot. There's a character in the film called Spot. It's like this drone, I suppose, that joins the team. He brings like some light entertainment. It's what they did all the time in the 80s, like put these characters in. They were always trying to copy Star Wars with R2-D2 and things like that. So you had this robot flying around. Essentially, was this version of this film's version of R2-D2 sort of thing. But it works, you know. It's quite a charming little character. The mandroid befriends it, sort of thing, and it all works quite well. And actually, when it actually gets destroyed, spoiler alert, guys, you know, you actually feel pretty sad about it. And it's just a little flying droid robot thing. So it's one of those 80s B-movies classics that I must admit I've absolutely thoroughly enjoyed revisiting. I bet it's 20 years since I've last seen it, and I probably, at the time when I was young in my teens, I probably watched it maybe about once a week, once a fortnight, something like that. It's the sort of film that I had in my collection that, you know, you just thought, oh, that's I remember that's a great entertaining film, that I'm going to put that back on. It passes a couple of hours and it's just a lot of fun. So if you've never seen Eliminators, it is one of those wonderful 80 cheesy classics. It's, yeah, you actually feel bad calling it a B movie because it's better than that, but it is a B movie essentially. You know, it's copying things that have come before it, like in the 80s, but it does it really successfully. And there's loads of action in it. It's very, very entertaining. It's nicely filmed. There's good, decent performances by everybody, and it's corny as hell. What more would you want from an 80s film like that? So I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10. It still stands up today. It's still very, very watchable, very entertaining, and trust me, better than an awful lot of the guff that I see these days. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Some of the terrible films that I have to watch, this beats them hands down. So many of them, and even some of the cinema releases that I watch as well. So check out The Eliminators if you've never seen it. You can pick it up. This is an 88 films release, so you can get hold of it in the UK. Pick it up, give it a watch, and I promise you, you won't be disappointed. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you like this review, and of course I will be back with plenty more reviews on the channel very, very soon.